Good blue, bad blue. We're back. It's been a while, but we're about halfway through the season, the 2025 season. We're gonna do a little checkup action here to see how our teams are doing, to see how the good blue and the bad blue are doing. See, I'm actually wearing college basketball, so we know who
Yeah,
the real fan is here. We
the
don't,
road to Phoenix. Well, I got the
yeah,
color right. That
yeah.
counts a little bit.
Not even the right sponsor. But
They should be the sponsor.
so as y'all know, though, I'm Justin.
This is Brandon.
Yeah. And thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you watching the other episodes. Like I said, we're just going to talk about how the season's going, and we're still going to predict what we think is going to happen at the end of the year. But let's just get right into things, man. We'll start off with North Carolina. We'll start off with the Tar Heels first. They're sitting at 12-6 overall, 5-1 in the conference. As you know, we're about a quarter of the way through the conference season so far. So we'll just start out with you, Brandon, and just get what's your overall thoughts on the Tar Heels so far?
They're trending upwards right now.
Yeah.
They really are. They've come together. There was a stretch there in the season where their height kind of hurt them on the boards, and they lost some games you didn't think they would lose.
Yeah.
But now overall, they're really starting to come around. They're gonna be a tournament team. They're gonna be that. I mean, this is just right now. That 7-8 seed, this is going to be a pain in some 2 or 3 seeds rear end.
Oh, big time. Yeah, I agree.
It really, really could be.
I think,
but they can also get a
yeah.
lot better. They're younger. They're starting to listen to Hubert more.
Oh, for sure.
They're making more plays.
Yes.
I watched a little bit of the game with Cal, and I don't know how good Cal is. I don't think they're very good. However, you still won by 26.
Yeah, anytime you win a conference game by 26 in the ACC is pretty strong. I think, yeah, Carolina is definitely getting better for sure.
Yes.
But, you look at their non-conference, they had 7 games against teams in the top 25.
It's going to help them.
It's none of their losses. What's their worst loss? Louisville?
Right.
Right.
Is not a bad loss at all.
They're projected as a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament right now.
I'm very proud of them.
They just had to get rid of that pain that they had on the sideline. You get it, Kenny Payne?
Yes.
No, they're doing great. They changed all but one player on their team. Louisville definitely improved. But if that's Carolina's worst loss right now,
it's not bad.
Not bad at all. And they got a couple good wins as well. Beating Dayton, beating UCLA, both going to be tournament teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Carolina, and I've said this before about Hubert Davis teams. I think, and I don't know if it's 100% his fault because I've seen, some articles about it now, but they just start the season off every year with such a hard schedule that there's no, when you got a team like this team right here where you have 2 freshmen that are key roles, you got some transfers that are key roles, and they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. You can't go into Kansas. You can't, play Alabama. You can't play Auburn when you're trying to get basically 4 new guys involved in the team. You need some building blocks. You need those cupcakes, so to speak. And now that Carolina's actually at an easier schedule, because the ACC is an easier schedule for them than the non-conference.
Way easier.
Yeah, so you're seeing them start to play good. Like Washington's, Jalen Washington's starting to fall into a good role. Elliot Cadeau has quit turning the ball over because, a lot of those turnovers weren't his fault. He makes a lot of good passes. The guys will just drop them.
He is an Energizer bunny that is 200 miles an hour from the time the ball tips till the time the game is over. Yep. And, those are great qualities to have if you're going to try, to make a run of it. In their non-conference schedule, I would like to point out, outside of the Alabama game, that was just a bad game for UNC.
Oh, yeah. It's a bad matchup.
Very bad matchup. Mark Sears he's unbelievable.
What's the
Grant Nelson?
Yeah.
Grant Nelson.
But he's just Carolina's got nobody to guard him.
No.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of teams that don't have a lot of people to guard him. So I'm not going to say anything else about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, all your non-conference games were close games.
Well, yeah.
The game of Florida, I thought y'all were going to get ran clean out of the gym.
Yeah.
And I still think that's a possibility with Florida this year with a lot of teams. But I think that, you played them a lot tougher than you would. You're going to be a tough out.
Well, if you look at it, so I think the Alabama game and the Auburn game, I think, are the only 2 games where Carolina did not have the lead with 5 minutes to go.
Yep.
All of their other losses, they have had the lead with 5 minutes to go. So they could have beat Kansas. Mm-hmm. They could have beat Michigan State. They could have beat Florida.
Yep.
They could have beat Louisville. They could have been beating these teams, and I think if you play, they got if you take their losses and you replay all those games right now, I think Carolina has 2 losses.
Potentially.
Alabama and Auburn. I think Carolina would have won that Kansas game if they play now.
I think
today.
so.
Yeah.
That Kansas team is not as good as I thought they were going to be.
No, and I think that's Hunter Dickinson's fault.
Yeah.
I think he's not as good as everybody thinks.
No, he is not. It was shown.
They're going to be, I guarantee you right now, they're going to be a lot better next year once he's gone.
Yes.
The worst thing that could have happened to them was him coming back for the 7th year of college? I don't even know what year he's on. Seems like he's been there since, I'm pretty sure he faced Sean May. I'm pretty sure. So, he's been around for a while. But I think Carolina wins that game if they play now. I think they win the Michigan State game. I think they win the Florida game. I think maybe the Louisville game, maybe they still lose just because. But I think that was also on New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Louisville's first big game since they, got over their pain. Yep. I'm gonna keep using puns because it's hilarious. So I think maybe that game. I think if it was played on any other day, Carolina wins that game. Like I really, truly do think that.
I feel 100% about Michigan State.
Yeah,
for sure. I feel about 60% about Kansas. I don't think they're a bad team, and I don't think y'all are an incredible team.
Yeah,
I think you're a team that's going to make a good run because you have good coaching and you have experienced guards. You still have R.J. Davis that can really be the leader on the team. If his shot gets going, throughout the season, I mean, they're going to be a tough team to play.
Well, nobody's talking about it too, but he's got his thumb wrapped up. Yeah. And we haven't heard anything about that. Like, I haven't heard anything about that. Like, maybe he's actually hurt.
Could be. I mean, he's such a floor general out there. He can still run the offense.
Oh, yeah.
Let Elliot Cadeau, do the facilitate things. Mm-hmm. When he drives in, he can either get an easy layup or he can get a good kick out. I mean, they still got a lot of weapons to do a lot of damage. That's for sure.
And mad props to Hubert Davis. Everybody can talk about him being, a less than ideal coach or whatever. I believe in him. I actually think he's not that bad, and I think it's proven because what he did was he put Ian Jackson in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
And he's kept him there. And not only that, he's given the kid the ball. The kid has 20 points in 6 of the last 7 games. He's averaging almost 16 points a game. I mean, Brandon, is he possibly the best freshman you've ever seen at Carolina?
Ooh, best freshman I've ever seen at Carolina?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I'd have to really think about that.
I mean, your other options would be maybe Tyler Hansbrough.
Ty Lawson.
His freshman year was not that great. Go back and watch.
That's true.
Go back and watch his freshman year.
So you're talking about just pure freshman year?
Yeah.
Brandon
Wright. Again, watch the games, look at the stats.
It's an interesting
He had some big games, but overall, and wasn't really consistent. I think he averaged 15 and 7, but again, he's on the inside, like, he's 6'11 or 6'10 or whatever. He's going to get rebounds. I mean, I think Hansbrough would be up there. I think Joseph Forte would be up there. Kobe White would be up there.
No, not even Antoine
Jameson.
Not even
Antoine Jameson. No, Kobe White had a great freshman year. And that's honestly probably it. Maybe Marcus Page, maybe. But that team was pretty good.
Harrison Barnes.
I don't think his freshman year was that great, man.
It started off slow, and then they got really good.
Well, yeah, and what was the key?
Probably who was the point guard?
Kendall Marshall got put in the starting lineup, yeah.
Yep.
And sometimes that's what it takes is a change in the starting lineup. And, Seth Trimble actually still looks great coming off the bench.
Yeah. No, I mean, the way they're running things now is starting to work. I mean, they've got – who is their upcoming schedule?
They got Cal. They just played Cal. They got Stanford this weekend.
I like UNC all day.
Yeah, then they go.
No matter where they're playing.
Yeah. Then they go to Wake Forest.
Oh, tough game.
That could be a tough one, for sure.
Tough game.
But then they got Boston College and Pitt right after that, and that's how they close out the month of January.
Well, Cooper Flagg stole Pitt's manhood, so you don't have to worry
about that. I don't think Pitt.
I
think this is the worst team that Capel has had at Pitt.
Oh, I mean, they started off really good, but now, I mean, since ACC play, they have just gone straight down.
And then Carolina starts February off at Duke. So,
okay.
And then they play Pitt again right after that. So the month of February is very tough for Carolina, actually. They go at Duke versus Pitt, at Clemson.
Oh, tough game.
At Syracuse. Then
Another
they play
tough arena.
Well, I guess then they close it. They close February a little easy. They play State,
Yes.
Virginia, and Florida State.
You never ever play well at Syracuse.
No.
Even the
No.
games you
Yeah.
win are ugly as sin.
Yeah.
So that is one of those games
Yeah.
where I mean I would still favor Carolina, but sometimes places are just haunted houses for you.
Yeah, and that's one.
Kind of like us
Yeah.
with Florida State and Virginia
Yeah.
Tech.
Yeah. So if you're looking at Carolina's schedule, I think you could say maybe at Wake Forest. All right.
Oh,
At
talking about
Duke.
losses.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe
Okay.
maybe at Wake, at Duke,
Okay. Fair
at
enough.
Clemson,
Yes.
um, and then versus Duke.
I'm talking about on the at Chapel Hill.
Yeah. I mean that. So
Who else do they who
Virginia Tech, Miami. I mean
Miami is
they're
absolutely
not going to
awful.
win. They're not going to win another game.
They're
not gonna-
are the new Louisville.
Yeah, they're not winning another game.
They are,
Yeah.
I mean, mind-blowingly.
And honestly,
talented.
Florida State might not win too many more either.
They'll
Virginia,
get in the fight.
Virginia might not win very many either. Carolina's probably not going to lose to State. I mean, let's be real here.
I don't think so either. No, I mean, listen, you're going to have you'll probably be, I think you're going to fight Clemson for the 2-3 seed.
Yeah,
I really do. I think Wake is going to be in there.
I think Carolina going 15-5. I see them going 15-5.
Very, very possible.
And that's an NCAA tournament bid.
Oh, you're getting in. You don't have to worry about that.
Well, you look at those. You look at the people on the internet. They're like, oh, Carolina was like 7-5 non-conference.
Oh, I don't think so.
But yeah, I think it's you gotta look at who they played.
You only have all right. I'm going to maintain this because this really matters, and committees do look at this.
Yeah.
And this also helps with the team. They only had one real just bad game this year. Just one just absolute stinker against Alabama.
Yeah.
That was the one. Other than that, I mean, every game, I mean, Kansas was blowing you out at one point, but it didn't finish that way.
Well, the same thing about Dayton. Dayton was up by 20, and Carolina came back and won.
Dayton's always one of those sneaky
But
teams.
still,
You don't know what's coming from them.
So Carolina has shown fight because they could have at 7-5 they could have rolled over and been like the season's over. We got no chance. Instead, they're fighting back 5-1 in the conference. I think 15-5 is probably what they finish.
Realistic.
I think that probably gives them a 5 seed, probably in the NCAA tournament. I feel like
you're going to be in that 5 to 7 to 5 to 8 ballpark.
Yeah.
It just really depends on how. As long as you don't lose the stupid games, like
that's the key.
Like losing at Syracuse, even though we talk about how much of a possibility it could be,
it's a stupid game.
That's a bad game to lose. Who else? Like, let's say you just and don't have any I think they could run their second team and still beat Miami. So I don't even think that even needs to be mentioned.
I'm telling you right now, man. I think Miami. I think they're just
the
done.
worst team in D1.
That might be the worst team in college basketball.
In D1.
Yeah.
In Power 5.
It's pretty bad. It's very bad actually. It's a shame.
All because Larinaga just took. I mean,
well, that team was done before him. Though.
They were. You are correct about that. That's for sure.
But yeah, so we both agree Carolina's a good team, and I think we both agree that honestly, I think if you look at their 4 backcourt players, Davis, Jackson, Cadeau, and Trimble, that might be the best 4-man rotation in the backcourt that anybody can have. And the fact that they can all 4 play together and still contend, really, is unbelievable.
If they can continue, they have to play high intensity ball all game long. If they let off, these bigger, faster, more developed physical teams are going to hurt them. Like Clemson, it's a great example.
Oh yeah,
it's a very big nobody wants to deal with Shefflin.
No, that's a horrible matchup for Carolina. Yeah, that game could be rough. But Drake Powell, who we haven't even mentioned yet, that kid's tough. I mean, he's second on the team in blocks.
Yeah.
He's grabs a lot of rebounds really.
Oh, I don't think Clemson's some juggernaut. Don't get me wrong. They are very, very beatable.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But they're also they are definitely, in my opinion, top 3 in the ACC.
Yeah.
And they're going to be down there, and they're going to win a lot of games. And they're going to be a nightmare. Plus, they're confident from. I mean, they had an Elite 8 run last year.
Yeah.
And for a split second, we thought they could pull it out in the end, but
yeah.
That Alabama team was just too tough.
Yeah, and Alabama's still really tough. But
yeah,
I think Carolina's in a great spot, really. I mean, all the naysayers, I think they're wrong. They want to, they wanted Carolina to die, but it's like you give anybody that non-conference schedule that they had, nobody in America is going 11-1 or 12-0 with that schedule.
Why do people hate to see the pedigree team succeed constantly? Well, I don't understand it.
Me, I love when it's the same team winning all
Yeah.
the time. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I rooted for the New England Patriots to go 19-0. I wanted Tom Brady to get 10 rings. I want the Warriors to win 12 NBA titles. I wanted Shaq and Kobe to win
He's
every
pulling for the
title.
Chiefs this year. I
No,
guarantee you.
no.
No,
Football's over. Football's
it's
over.
over.
Yeah, that's why we're doing a college basketball podcast now. Yeah, football's over. Yeah. It ended Monday night.
I
Just
understand.
yeah.
Yes, it sure
Yeah.
did. You
Yeah.
were not wrong.
So I don't know what you're talking about. It's almost baseball season. Yeah.
We're getting. Hey, you just totally skipped March Madness. What's the matter
That
with you?
too, yeah. I mean, but no football, yeah, we're like 8 months away from football season. But Belichick's in town, so we're ready. We're ready. We're ready, man.
I cannot wait to watch this circus. I think it's gonna be amazing.
I'm calling it right now, man. Playoffs next year.
I think that's doable.
Yeah.
I think that's doable. It still has a lot to do with the talent.
I want Belichick to I really hope Belichick just
do yourself a favor. Don't get a 1-4 seed in the playoff.
yeah, well, yeah, that's no, I bet you that never happens again.
Ooh.
I want Belichick though just to write a blank check to the Manning kid and be like, here,
Arch.
yeah, be like, hey, Eli and Peyton love me, so come and play for me. Here's a
We're
blank check.
digressing. However,
Yeah.
Ewers did declare for the
Yeah.
draft, which means that spot's wide open for Arch at Texas.
Yeah, but
Keep
man,
that in mind.
why wouldn't he want to play for Belichick, who Eli and Peyton
Because
love?
Texas is better than North Carolina in
Are
football.
they? Are they? Are they?
Right now?
Well, I mean, yeah, but in 8 months, are they?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes, they are better.
I think it's a lot. I think in 8 months from now, it's a lot closer than people think.
That may be true too, but I mean, you're talking about a top 5 in the country all year program.
Yeah.
So, who just happened to run into the most smoking hot football team in college right now.
Yeah. Well,
But anyway, we are yes.
Yeah.
Back to UNC.
So we think Ian Jackson is a freshman All-America.
Enjoy him while you have him.
Yeah.
He can help you get a good run. He's probably a top 10 pick. He might be higher than that.
He's been projected top 10 since before the season even starts. So I see it now. And what's sad from a Carolina fan perspective is he's probably not even going to win the Freshman of the Year award because we'll switch it over now to your team. Cooper Flagg.
Yes, that guy.
Is possibly the Freshman of the Year. I still think the race is closer than people think.
That's fair. That's very fair.
But Duke right now, looking pretty good. I mean, they're 7-0 in the conference,
Yes.
15-2 overall, 111 straight. I mean, Brandon, how high are you? Are you higher than you were, 3 months ago? Like,
I absolutely am. But I do have. I'm going to get the bad out of the way first, and then I'm going to go into what makes me think they are top 2. I don't know. The top 3 in the country is definitely a great conversation to have. Anyway, I am underwhelmed by one particular player. I mean, I'm extremely underwhelmed by Malawak.
He's not nearly what I thought he was.
Not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is clearly the biggest guy on any court in college basketball, except for that one kid who plays somewhere.
Florida?
Yeah, Florida.
Well, there's also the one for Purdue, but he redshirted. And the guy from Florida is redshirted.
Either way, I mean, he's still abnormally big for college basketball. They absolutely hyped him up. Top 2 or 3 pick in the draft. And he makes some good plays, but he does not make them with the power and consistency. It's like there's one thing they always say. It's one thing to be 7 foot, but do you play like you're 7 foot?
Yeah.
And right now, he's not playing like he's 7 foot.
Yeah.
I feel like he has such an advantage. I think he's still trying to find himself. He's obviously never played basketball at a level of Duke level over where he's from.
Africa, right?
Yeah, he's from Africa.
No,
there's no team
I'm pretty
in
sure Duke would probably beat every team in Africa.
Unless there's some pro teams nobody's talking about, I think you're right.
I would definitely be rooting for the African team.
I know. Well, there's no question you would be. Yes.
I mean, I still root against USA basketball. So that.
You are that one guy that we all talk about. Yes.
Go Spaniards.
He's good at it, though.
Yeah, go Spaniards.
Well,
Canada. Oh, Canada.
But I do think he has the ability to come along, figure it out.
Do you think, and here's my theory.
Sure.
Do you think the school is just, this isn't the right team for him? Like, do you
At
think?
the moment, or could they develop into
Well,
it?
like, do you think like they don't really let him maybe do what he does? Like, because they don't need him to do really. You don't need him. I mean,
Here's a thought,
you don't need him.
and this is why I think about the transfer portal and missing this one particular player.
Yeah.
Let's say we kept Mitchell,
Yeah. Yeah.
the one last year, not Mark
Yeah.
Mitchell.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. The
it's
Mitchell
gonna
from last
drive
year.
me.
Nah, I don't
It's
know.
gonna drive me crazy.
Dude,
But
y'all
Mitchell,
cycle through players so much.
we
I
do.
I can't keep track.
If we could have kept Mitchell
Yeah.
last year and kept Malawak on the bench, they would clearly be the number one team in the country.
Well,
What
Mitchell would fit the team better. Yeah.
He would fit the
Yeah.
team better.
Yeah.
He would play the boards better. He's
Yeah.
way more athletic. He'd catch more alleys.
Well, that's
I
why.
mean, it's amazing watching a 7'2" guy miss alleys.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's never supposed to happen.
Well, like, why does it? Why do you think Gillis? Like, Gillis wouldn't fit better in that role instead of Malawak?
Well, Gillis is a lot smaller. He
Well,
plays
yeah,
more of
but
a guard role, but
yeah, but I mean, I think he could. I think he could still play. I mean, I guess yeah, you do kind of need a center, I guess, but I think Malawak is still.
he's going to develop and
Yeah.
he's going to get better, and that's going to be really, if they're going to make a run at a national championship, he's actually the key piece that's got to get more solid. It's kind of like the 2010 team was very average until Zubek started playing out of his mind, and then out of nowhere that team won a national title, and nobody on that team had a successful NBA career. Sometimes players just step up and play the right part, and that's what I'm hoping. However, enough of the negative part of Duke. I'm stoked. I am absolutely fired up. I'm excited, to see my team has a legitimate shot to win a national title. They have the best player in college basketball, making the plays, making the highlights. A lot of people still want to disagree with that, and that's okay. I think there's one guy at Auburn. Once he gets healthy, can stay to claim. There's also Mark Sears from Alabama. I'm gonna pay you your respects. But I think Cooper Flagg is the most dynamic player in college basketball right now. The way he moves without the ball, the way he moves with the ball, he anticipates everything. He knows exactly where the players should be before they're even there, and he is truly making his team better. In the beginning of the season, he was trying to do too much. Now he's doing a lot more facilitating, hitting a lot more passes, using Knipple, using Tyrese Proctor, using all these players. This team is really starting to hum. Now, they had a kind of a tough,
Yeah, they had a tough non-conference.
non-conference schedule
Yeah.
too, and they went 2-2 in the games that people questioned,
Yeah,
you know.
which is
And
better than I thought they would.
well,
Yeah.
considering how they lost that game against Kentucky, I was pretty down. Now I would love to play that Kentucky or that Kansas team again. I guarantee you, guarantee you, Duke would beat both of them right now. You know, Kentucky especially and Kansas both have the ability to get better and be a different team in March. But right now, Duke to me is hands down top three in the country. They're just so dangerous on so many levels.
I don't think that we could actually disagree any more than we do because I actually
Love
think
that. Love that.
I think that this is the Cooper Flag show, and I don't think that wins titles. I think he does everything for the team, which is awesome, and he's probably the number one draft pick. And Malawak should still be a top 10 draft pick. And
On
honestly,
potential.
honestly, for the right team in the NBA, I think he could be a all-star, top 5 center in the game.
Hmm.
But if you watch this team play, I just feel like they're not as dominant as they need to be, and it's too much Cooper Flag. There's going to come a team that's going to basically say, Cooper, you ain't winning. And does anybody else on this team step up? Can they step up? Do they know how to
Yeah.
step up? I mean, you say yeah, but I mean, like you said, Malawak ain't really doing nothing. Some of the other guys haven't really like.
It's January 15th.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, they could learn. They could learn.
16th.
Yeah, they could learn. But I'm just saying, as of right now, I actually think less of them than I thought at the beginning of the year. Like,
Okay.
I think it's way too much Cooper Flag. It's way too much. Let's rely on one player instead. I thought this was going to be a juggernaut of a team where they would have 5 or 6 guys all averaging 10 plus points, and one night it might be Flag that goes for 25. The next night it'd be Knipple that went for
Mhm.
25. Malawak would be putting up like 20 and 15 games. Like, I really thought Foster would do something. Who's the other kid? Evans. Like, I thought that he
Wondering, He
Yeah.
came in smoking hot, and then now he can't even get in the game.
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah. Who else you got? Proctor. I really thought Proctor. I thought he would be possibly one of the top 5 guards in the country, and I'm not even sure. I mean, he's not even a top 5 guard in the ACC.
Maybe right now, but at the end of the season he will be. Trust me, this
Yeah.
team is still developing.
Yeah.
This team is still developing. They're fun to watch. You know what? People can have their opinions on how they feel about this team. I know from watching a lot of college basketball, there's only two, maybe three or four teams that really say, okay, that one could be a legitimate loss, and I would not be surprised. But that's really it. I mean, this team, in my opinion, is maybe not number one, but they're solid number three.
Yeah.
I think their ranking is right now, but it could move up.
I mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, looking at their schedule, there's probably only 2 games that they lose the rest of the way.
At Wake and at Clemson, at Clemson,
At Clemson and then,
Illinois.
Yeah, at Illinois. At Clemson and at Illinois, I think are probably the only 2. Maybe at Wake. So you could say 3.
Wake's, that's just a tough environment.
Oh,
They
yeah, for
lost
sure.
there last year.
Yeah, I mean, Wake plays the better teams way better at home.
They do. They do.
I think.
They're going to get up to play Duke.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Wake is a tough
They're a
team.
tournament team.
Yeah, they're always top 4 in the ACC. Just nobody ever talks about them. But yeah, I really just think Duke is just. It's like we talk about the same thing sometimes with like Gonzaga, and I know Duke's in a way better conference, but what hurts Gonzaga a lot of times is they never have a close game,
right?
But they also never really dominate the teams that they like. They might win by 15 or 20, but it's like, man, it wasn't like dominating. Like, and that's to me, that's what I'm looking at when I look at Duke. Like, I'm like, they're winning these games, but I just feel like it's not. They're not going on 20-0 runs. They're not. They're not clamping down.
Right.
And it's really, again, I just go back to it's literally just Cooper Flagg doing everything. And I just think you face a good team at some point in the tournament. It's going to come maybe in the Elite Eight, maybe a Final Four. But there'll be a team that just says, you know what? We're shutting him down. And
there's still other weapons on that team that can kill you.
Yeah,
I mean you still have plenty of talent out there. They're not. This isn't LeBron James and a team full of scrubs in Cleveland in 07.
Yeah.
It's not those guys.
But it's it's the same problem that Carolina had last year. It was like R.J. Davis, then finally Alabama shuts them down and they couldn't win.
But you didn't. The problem with the Carolina team last year is you didn't have that one dynamic player like Purdue had Zach Edey, and like UConn had Stephon Castle and Donovan Clingan, who can just absolutely just take over a game. Cooper Flagg can do that. He can.
Oh, and absolutely.
This isn't the type of team where you can just isolate him out of the game. They've got Knipple, who can shoot as good as anybody in the country. Tyrese Proctor has great handles, can get in the lane and hit shots. Mason Gillis is big, strong, physical. So is Zion James.
Gillis is another guy. I thought he would come in and be a huge difference maker, and I think that's the key for y'all's run.
And it could be. Plus, he has that experience from being on the tournament team with Purdue last year.
Yeah,
that's big.
Exactly. Time. I think that's because you were talking about it being who'd you say the difference maker was going to be? I think the difference maker is Gillis. I think that's
difference maker like down the stretch.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it has to be Malawak. I think for this team to win a national title, it's got to be Malawak. He's going to have to step up and play like he's 7'2". That's what it's going to take.
Yeah. I mean
that's the real nucleus of this whole equation. If Malawak can step up and play his height, I would absolutely take them right now to go all the way. Until then, like I said, there's a couple other teams that have the ability to beat Duke. No questions asked. So there's still a lot of development. I'm very pleased with Shire, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Shire's changing a lot of things. He's going to a lot of different looks. He's familiarizing himself. I think it's only January 16th. I think he's still trying to cook this soup. He's still making this stew right now. He's trying to figure out what really works and what does not. The only consistent thing that's 100%er is he knows Cooper Flagg can take over a game, and he knows Knipple can hit any shot. That's what he knows, and that's what he's working around.
Yeah. I think If we look at it today, I would be less surprised. Like if you were to ask me who makes it further, Carolina or Duke,
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably have to say Duke.
Who
But
makes it further?
yeah,
Okay.
but I really do think Carolina has a way high, not a way higher, but I think Carolina has a higher upside than Duke does with the current teams. I think just those guards that they have, Ian Jackson getting better, Drake Powell getting better. They got so many weapons that can come at you. I think Carolina is the team that I thought Duke would be, where you have four guys that could go for 20 points, and it'd be like, oh, I didn't see that coming.
Put
Like,
put it this way, and I'm being completely serious about this. I'm not going to completely rule out. I'm not going to completely guarantee Duke sweeping Carolina this year.
no, yeah,
I'm not going to fully guarantee
yeah,
it.
yeah. This has a split
Because of
almost.
last year, I do think the game at Duke will be good, but I think Duke will win. The game at Carolina at the end of the year, hey, especially since they've had time to develop and get
Yeah,
better. We've seen weird things happen. You and I have
for sure.
watched this game a long time, so
Actually, I almost feel like it's going to go backwards.
you mean
Opposite.
Carolina win at
I
Duke
would,
and Duke win at
yeah,
Chapel?
yeah.
How many times have we seen that? Probably more than
Well, it'll be RJ Davis's official senior night, and
emotional.
if there's one thing I've learned about RJ Davis, he's not going to show up for the big game. So that has a Carolina loss written all over. Although it's also Ian Jackson's final home game. So maybe Carolina does have a chance in that game because that kid might go for 50. I mean, it would not surprise me. I just hope. I wish that he would have been starting from the beginning of the year, and Hubert would have just been like, you know what, Ian, just cook all night. I want to see if he can go for 50 in a game.
What I hope he goes for 50,
Yeah.
loses by one to Duke, and then the Hornets find a way to get him in the draft because they're definitely they're a bottom three team.
Why would you wish that evil upon him?
Because I'm still a fan and I want a good player. Tired of being 9-28.
No, I want the Hornets to draft the worst player that they can draft.
There might be in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean,
unfortunately.
They're going for the flag.
Unfortunately for him. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, nobody wants to go to Charlotte.
Well, the Hornets fans hate Duke players.
Well, y'all, they draft one every year though, so there's that. Let's switch over and just talk about the ACC here really quick. I think, do we both agree that the top three at the end of the year will probably be Carolina, Duke, and Clemson?
I think Duke's going to go
in some order. In some order, you think Carolina, Duke, and Clemson?
You said Carolina 15-5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Duke 18-2.
18-2. I'm thinking 17-3. Okay. I think they lose. I think there's two.
There's gonna be some ridiculous
like you said,
game you don't.
There's two or three games that we definitely see them losing. You know what I mean? And then I think there's probably just one thrown in there where you're like, how did that happen? Because it happens every time. So I think 17-3. And I think Clemson finishes somewhere around 15-5 also. They're 6-1 right now. Do you have another team that you could see possibly sneaking into the top three? I'd say Wake, but man, Wake.
I'm gonna say Louisville.
I don't know if Louisville can hold on.
No, why not? They look like they play decent ball. They look like they're not the same team that's been the last 2 years, and they're rallying.
But the problem is there hasn't been a scouting report on them because they have 12 new players. Eventually, you're about at that point now where there's starting to be a scouting report.
Well, they have a very, very, very favorable schedule.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what's going to happen.
Until they get
late in the year. Yeah.
They don't play anybody good until.
No, I mean, Louisville, in all seriousness, could go like 17-3 if they win the games they're supposed to win.
They don't play Duke.
No, they don't play y'all again.
No.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, they could easily go like 17-3 probably if you look at the games. Like, because I mean, what games are they going to like? What games realistically, like, are they supposed to lose?
Let's see. Wake Forest is a very losable game for them.
Yeah.
They're at home though.
Yeah.
And then you have Georgia Tech's terrible.
Yeah.
Boston College definitely has a chance.
Could Louisville be the worst team to ever win the ACC regular season? Because honestly, there's a world in which they win every one of those games.
They might get second.
I think there's a world in which there's a possibility.
Run out?
Yeah. Because they don't play. They play.
No, I can't. I
They
can't.
have
I
no
can't.
tough.
No, I
They
just.
have no tough road game.
You
They
know how
have no
much
tough road game.
pressure that you know how much pressure that is.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying
I
it's gonna
mean,
happen.
I
But
don't, oh yeah,
yeah.
I would not bet on them to run out.
I still think they finish like 13-7 at best.
So you think they're just going to dump a lot of these games?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope we'll see. We're going to do this again in a few weeks.
Listen,
But
they got so many transfers, right?
yeah,
If these transfers are that good, if they're that good, would they go to Louisville?
to get playing time and get exposure, sure. Why
Okay,
not?
okay, but if
It's
they're
still a storied program.
but if they're looking for playing time and exposure, are
Yeah.
they that good?
I mean, ball players want to go somewhere to play.
Most of them want to go somewhere to win.
Yeah. Well, they're
Yeah.
13 and what?
Yeah, but
13 and
yeah, but
5?
that's nobody expected them to be that good.
No,
Like,
and listen, that's one thing that's been working in their favor. They've been so horrendous the last 2 seasons that we actually do have a chance to talk about them now.
yeah.
You know, which to me is a good thing. I want to see storied programs that are in the ACC do well. In my opinion, Louisville's a top 10 program of all time.
Yeah. Yeah, they're borderline blue blood.
Very borderline, but yes.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, just like I enjoy seeing Clemson and Wake, getting into the NCAA tournament. Like, I hope a bunch of these teams make the NCAA tournament. What do we think about the three newcomers, SMU, Stanford, and Cal?
Why are they here?
Well, yeah, it's because we're the all-coast
You
conference.
have
We're the all-coast
brought
conference.
any coast.
Yeah, any coast.
You have brought nothing except a much higher GPA to our conference, much higher grade point average to our conference. That's what you have brought.
Yeah, and Cal kindly sucks. Stanford seems decent, and SMU is surprisingly good.
I mean, I understand this is Duke and they're the best team in the ACC, but I mean, Duke went in there and just absolutely rolled them. I feel like if you're good, like you're legitimately good, and you have a home game, and you have one of those blue bloods coming into your house,
hey, you're supposed to do good.
You're gonna do good, even if you lose. You play them tough. No, Duke just beat them up and down the court the whole game.
Yeah, and I mean,
There's
Carolina.
nothing suspenseful. Yeah. I quit watching it. And I was like, this is just. There's nothing to see here. Law and Order's on. I mean,
and really, Carolina didn't have too hard of a trouble with them either.
No.
So you got 3 teams with 1 win: Cal, BC, and Virginia right now, and then you got 1 team with 0 wins. And truthfully, serious time now. Do we think Miami goes 0-20? I think they do. I think they go 0-20.
No, they're going to sneak one in against one of the
against Florida State, probably.
Florida State, They could beat SMU.
Do we think? This is the last year for Leonard at Florida State?
He's got to be near the end. He's definitely the oldest coach and he's been there the longest. They're not going anywhere fast. I mean, yeah, I'm last year. Let's see how much worse it gets throughout the season.
Yeah.
Then
I mean, they're 3 and 3.
Going, but if it keeps going the way that it's going, then I hope he's got to be out soon.
Do you think Virginia? They got the new coach as well. Do you think he sticks around because they're struggling?
What are they in conference? It's terrible. They're 1-5.
Yeah.
What can he do with the rest of the season?
I'm not sure he's there.
I don't think so. I think losing Tony Bennett was so much bigger than everybody realizes.
Tony Bennett he's
a legend.
I mean, he's a top 15 coach of all time.
I agree. Top 15?
Top 20?
I was going to give him a higher benefit of the doubt.
I don't know if he's top 10. I don't know if he's top 10.
Okay.
Now, I think maybe. Maybe. I mean, I mean, he's a really good coach. What about NC State? You think they're regretting giving Keats a extension after that Final Four run?
I think that whole thing was done off of an emotion of an amazing thing. No, they are what we thought they were.
Yeah.
I think they gave their coach money he doesn't deserve.
Agreed.
Because he made one. Can we please go back to one thing?
Yeah.
Yes, it was a historical run, which I had to be in the way of. Okay?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
They're one missed free throw away from that never happening.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Virginia makes a free throw.
They make one free throw. Yeah. That whole thing never happens. And so
Yeah.
I mean, right now, yeah, I don't know if they have their permanent fix-it coach. He's going to have to start. He's going to have to massively turn around. I don't think he has the players to do it.
No,
You know,
no,
I was watching
they got a bad team.
Carolina owned them the whole game. Like I sat here and thought, okay, this could be a good game. You know, not really.
No, it was never even like closer.
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't think. I think you have five solid teams in the ACC. You probably get four of them in. Hopefully, you get five. I
I think
mean,
all
one of
five.
them's gonna
I think five get in. I think five get in.
if they
Yeah.
keep going the way they're going. Yeah,
I think they put Louisville in just because they're Louisville.
well, they have a
Like,
great schedule.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then Wake, Clemson, Carolina, and Duke. I think are the
Yeah.
five for sure. Let's move on to the national scene.
Right.
Let's move on to the national scene. So Auburn's number one.
Yeah.
Iowa State number two.
That's a discussion.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a discussion. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it out there. Let's just go ahead and make our final four predictions, and then just talk from there. So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go
Sure.
first? You want to go first?
Sure.
All
I
right.
love going
All right.
first.
Who's your four?
Duke.
All right.
Should have known that was coming,
Yeah.
and not just because I'm a fan.
Yeah, I think that's
I'd
a
be
solid,
objective.
yeah, it's a solid pick. They're number three right now. That it's a solid choice.
Auburn,
Number one team in the country.
overall number one seed.
Yeah, number one team in the country. They have
They're playing great without Janai Broom.
yeah, exactly. And that
Great.
they're Bruce Pearl is a great coach who
Yes.
deserves to have a Final Four. I love Auburn. I think they are the number one team in the country.
Mhm.
I really do think they are number one. So far, two solid picks for you. I think Auburn. I'm surprised Auburn's this good. I did not expect them at the beginning of the year to be this good. I thought they would be like, top 10 team,
Yes.
maybe top 5, but I did not expect them to be number one. And I think they're number one. I really think they're number one. I don't think there is a team that, they got 60 first place votes for a
Mhm.
reason. And I think that's absolutely correct.
I'm gonna go Florida.
Florida, number 5. The other team getting the first place vote. The best defensive team in the country.
And that's why I have them in the Final Four.
They held to Tennessee to what? -18?
That was
Yeah,
that
I
was
mean,
pathetic.
What did they finish? It was 47?
It was the score was it was no 73-43.
Yeah, okay, 43 points. Okay,
And
yeah.
the fact you put up 84 on them to me is still impressive.
It tells you how good Carolina's offense is.
It can be absolutely.
Yeah, Florida is a great choice. I think
And-
Mike Golden is actually a really great coach. Who knows what's going on with his legal problems? Nobody ever talks about that anymore.
No, they're going to be down there at the end. That SEC is just a juggernaut.
Man, dude, the SEC has 10 teams
It's
in
the
the top
best.
25.
It's the best conference in college basketball.
Yeah, it's
by
insane.
far.
It's insane. It's insane. And no, I think I like Florida. I think they're a good choice. I've always, enjoyed Florida being good. I think Florida deserves to have a good basketball team. So, it'd be
So
good
I
to see them
have
back.
3 SEC teams.
Yeah. Okay, so
and
your last pick is an SEC team then?
It is.
Yeah,
It's
so-
Alabama.
I was going to say it's got to be Alabama, who's ranked
It
number
is.
4 right now. Alabama is a team, though, that I sit here and say I thought they would be the number 1 team right now.
They can
I
win.
thought they would be what Auburn is.
They play great defense. The whole
yeah.
team is super athletic. They can hit threes better than anybody
Yeah.
consistently. Grant Nelson is a complete problem. I don't think there's one person in the college basketball that can truly check Mark Sears.
I mean, honestly,
I mean-
Grant Nelson is going to have a 15-year NBA career, multiple-time All-Star, and probably be on a couple of championship-winning teams. I'm saying it right now. And Mark Sears is a top 3 player in college basketball.
yeah,
Yeah.
he is such a dynamic. He is going to be
Yeah.
great at the NBA level. He's got good. You don't think so?
Height-wise, yeah, I mean, it's tough.
I know, but it's a speedy game now.
Yeah, but
And
they want, we're going bigger, man. I mean, the OKC Thunder have
we'll
12
see.
players that are 6'8". I mean, Wembyamba is out
Well,
there.
they're a great team and they built it well.
Yeah.
And
No,
they-
yeah. Alabama might just be joking around and being like, well, we've already been to the Final Four. Let's, we know what the regular season's about. I mean, and we see this happen a lot of times with college teams that return a
Sure.
lot of good players. So
Sure.
I still believe in Florida. I think Florida is a great team. I think they're underachieved a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not alarming. I'm not alarmed. I'm not saying like, oh my God, what happened to them? So that's a solid Final Four. You pick 4 teams in the top 5 currently. So obviously you believe that these teams are really good. Florida, Alabama, Duke, and Auburn.
Last year, with the exception of UConn, I don't know who else was going to be in the UConn and Purdue.
We
We
literally,
knew it was those two, and then we
yeah,
really had no clue about anybody else.
yeah. I mean, you could have just picked another team out of the hat. Like we said UConn and Purdue all year, and that was the easiest ever. And this year, I think there's a lot of good teams this year, and I said that in our first episode of the
And
season.
there's a lot of good teams in the top 10. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing about it.
Yes,
There's a few on there I have a lot of questions about.
yes, and we'll get to that.
We will get to that.
We'll get to that. Yes.
What do you? I want to hear your final four.
Oh, my final 4.
Yes, it's important.
All right, so I'll start off with a team that you picked,
Oh,
just to get it out of the way.
not Duke. I know.
No, it's not Duke. Auburn. I think Auburn is.
Good call.
Like I said, I think they're the number 1 team, and I think John I Broom.
Spelled Johnny, but
Yeah.
Janai.
Yeah, I think he is a perfect college player for today's game.
Yes.
I don't know what he does in the NBA. I'm not sure if he has any type of career.
There's a Janai Broom on every team.
Exactly. Multiple.
Yes.
But I think Auburn is built as a great team. I think Bruce Pearl is one of the best college coaches in basketball right now.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm starting off with Auburn. I think they're
You will not get any argument from me if
Yeah.
you say they rifle to be number 1.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, their only losses to Duke at Duke. That's
Yeah.
strong.
And I think they beat Duke on any other court in America. I really
It
do.
would go 7 games.
I mean, yeah, it's a close game. I just think any other court in America. My other 3 picks are different than yours.
Hey, I would love to. I can't wait.
So
for this.
we have one team in common. My other 3 teams. I am picking this team until they lose.
Whoa.
Until they lose in the month of March or April, I'm picking them for the Final
I
Four.
know who it is.
UConn. Yeah. Yeah. I think Dan Hurley is the best coach in college basketball right now. If not the best coach in basketball,
Be a
period.
great story.
And I want to see the three-peat. I want to see a team get close to a three-peat.
Well, they haven't lost since that 3-game landslide they went on in the beginning of December. So, I mean, that's saying a lot.
No, they lost.
Did they lose
yeah,
recently?
Yeah, they
Must have been very recently.
yeah, they lost to Villanova like 2 days ago.
Oh, well.
But no, I think yeah, I mean I'm all
Like UConn and Auburn, okay.
yeah, you can't go against UConn, I think. And
That target's just so gigantic.
yeah,
on them
yeah,
now.
but man, somebody eventually I think will break through and do a three-peat.
Yeah.
Like because I don't think it's out of the question, especially in today's game with players moving around and NIL. Maybe you can keep players. So yeah, I'm taking UConn. And then my third pick, you picked your team. I'm gonna pick my team. So I'm pick Carolina.
Oh my
I
God.
still believe in them. I still think that backcourt. I think Ian Jackson could be that freshman that leads his team. I think he could pull a Carmelo Anthony and lead his team to the promised land.
NC State went as an 11 seed
Yeah,
last
yeah,
year. It just,
yeah.
I know it can happen.
Oh yeah, we've seen a lot of Cinderella stories, but I just think, I think Carolina can score points. I don't think there's a team in college basketball that can score like Carolina can. I really don't. The problem
Well,
with
I hope
Carolina
you're in the bracket with Auburn. How about that?
The problem with Carolina is can they stop anybody from scoring and can they rebound? But
That's big time.
yeah, but if you're just talking about straight up scoring, which is the point of basketball, put the ball in the hoop. I don't think anybody can outscore Carolina.
If you get a good bracket and you get a bunch of things fall your way, I mean,
Yeah.
trust me, there's plenty of teams that make it to the Elite Eight
Yes.
that have no business being there, Clemson.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean,
And I could be completely wrong, and Carolina could get a bad matchup in the second round and be gone. But I'm still gonna believe in them because
sure.
and I also just think R.J. Davis maybe at some point turns it around. But I just think they're just too hard to stop, and sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Carmelo Anthony, the freshman sensation, carry the Syracuse Orange. Why can't Ian Jackson do it? Why can't we just?
That team was pretty good, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, I don't think that team's any better than this Carolina team. I really don't. I really don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I really don't. I mean, they played zone defense, so they don't even
And
play
they
defense.
did it good
They don't-
enough to win the whole
Yeah.
thing. So,
Yeah, but all right. So that was my third pick. My fourth pick, I'm gonna go Iowa State.
That's a good one, man. It was hard to leave them out, actually.
I mean, nobody's talking about them really. They're the best defensive team in college basketball. Like, can anybody score on them?
That is one thing. I mean, their only loss is to Auburn.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, no, they're very legit.
And I think their
They're
offense is actually good enough to overcome. Because a lot of times when you have defensive teams as good as they are, they can't score at all. Like Virginia. Virginia, so many years, you know, hey, if you score 40 on Virginia, you're doing good. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
But then Virginia couldn't score 40 themselves. Iowa State can score and play defense. And they got a good roster. They're big. They're a big team. They're a strong team. I like what they got, man.
And you know what else they have that is a huge quality for going far in the tourney? Juniors and seniors.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people forget how big of a thing, how much that matters. That's why I'm not just writing Duke into the championship spot.
Yeah.
Having that senior leadership, 4 years to grow and lift weights and get stronger, take your coaching. No, that's a great pick.
Yeah, I like their coach too. I like Otzenberger.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it, right? Yeah, I like him as a coach, man. So there we go. That's our final four picks. We have one team the same, three different. So obviously Auburn is our choice this year. Well, maybe not our choice to win, but you know what I'm saying. That's the team that we think as of right now is the best. Let's talk about some disappointments here.
Yes.
If you had to pick one team in the top 10 right now, as of today, a team in the top 10 that you think has zero chance of the Final Four?
Tennessee.
Zero. Tennessee. Taking Tennessee. The number 6 team, they have one loss.
You don't lose by 30 at home and be ranked number one and expect me to take you seriously in that moment. You can't. I don't care. You should never lose by 30 being the number one team in the country. Just that they got exposed a lot. And there's more coming.
Oh, yeah.
They still have to deal with Auburn, Kentucky. I think they have to play Florida again.
I think, yeah.
I mean, Florida just undressed them.
Yeah,
that was an absolute. I mean, and that I'm sorry. I mean, they could prove me wrong.
Yeah.
But you're telling me to pick on January 16th? Yeah, they should be number 10.
Yeah. So yeah, they're your choice for the worst team in the top 10. I like it. I mean, I see Tennessee being pretty bad. I think it's funny to me watching Rick Barnes lose because.
Bet I can guess yours.
Oh yeah, who? Okay, well, who's mine then?
Kansas.
No,
it wasn't Kansas. Okay.
No, I wish I could say Kansas,
okay.
But it's hard to bet against. I'm not going to bet against Bill Self. I don't think he has a great team, but you know what? Great coach.
I know who.
So they can win. Okay, who?
Duke.
No, because like I said, I think their upside is
tremendous.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, they got the best player in college basketball.
That's fair.
Very
so fair.
You can't choose against that. No, I'm going to go Kentucky.
Okay.
I just don't. They haven't shown me anything where I'm like, that's a good team. Like
you're more convinced that Duke handed them that game more so than they won it.
Nah, I don't know about that. I think sometimes just the stars align. Kentucky hadn't beaten Duke in 10 years.
It's been a while.
10 years. It'd been 10 years. Mark Pope needed a big signature win. Kentucky might be the greatest program of all time. So, this is their chance to say, hey, we're still here. We just have a different coach. And, sometimes when you have a great team like Duke does where they're all freshmen, they're going to lose a game early on. So I think that was just the stars aligned. And, so that did not alter me on either team, honestly. Like, I was like, yeah, those are the teams I thought they were. But, no, I just think Kentucky, I don't think they have star players. I don't think they do anything spectacular.
That's a good way to put it.
I do think
they shoot.
Yeah. They shoot, yeah, but it's not spectacular enough. And I think Mark Pope is actually a good coach, but it'll be really his first time making it, at a big program. And I don't think you win. You don't win on your first go round. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of pressure over there. You got to remember, this is a team that lost the last 2 years in a row, being a 2 seed and a 3 seed.
Calipari, what was it? Has won one tournament game since COVID.
Yeah. That's a lot of expectations. Big Blue Nation is just as serious as your nation and my nation.
Yeah.
Just as serious.
Yeah.
And their fans are just as crazy as our fan bases.
Yeah.
They are not going to continue to tolerate going out in the first round of the dance.
But I think this year,
Mark Pope, you better get out of that first round.
Yeah, and I think he probably does. I think they're like I
I
said,
think
they would be
that'll
my
drive them to do so.
Yeah, they were my pick as the worst top 10 team, but I still think they probably win a game in the tournament. But
Sure.
also, I think this is the year where you get a pass because it's your first year there. You got some new players. This isn't the same roster as last year, but yeah, I just don't believe in them, man. I just really don't. I think, but also it wouldn't surprise me at the same time if they're in the Elite Eight. There's no way that they're a Final Four team. I don't think there's any world in which this team makes the Final Four, even
I
if they
agree
get a
with you
good
on
bracket.
that.
So.
They do not want to see Duke again. I promise you that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that was just the stars were aligned. Let's go the other way. Let's pick a
Yes.
team ranked 11th or below that we think could be that team. Now, obviously, I won't. I'm not going to take UConn or Carolina because we already talked about them. So
Yes.
I'll pick a different team. And but let's see who you pick. Is there a team outside the top 10 that you would not be shocked if they made a run to the Final Four? Like basically, who do you think is the best team ranked 11th or below?
I have one team that I've been eyeballing, but they play in a weak conference.
Oh yeah,
But I think Oregon's very good.
Oregon, yeah,
Is very good.
team.
But they're also not going to be. They play Arizona
Yeah,
and they play a few other teams, but they have a possibility. I'm gonna say Oregon.
yeah, Oregon. I mean, great choice. I think Oregon.
They win a lot.
They have won a lot. I think they have looked really good.
Yeah.
I just don't know how can they do it like 4 games in a row in March against.
It'd be hard.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can they do it against top competition 4 games in a row to make the Final Four? But I do like Oregon. I like what they got. I think they got some good pieces. I think they do a lot of good things, and they're fun to watch. Like, I actually enjoy watching them. And honestly, when's the last time we talked about Oregon, really? They made the Final Four, 2017 when Carolina beat them?
Yeah.
But, I mean, they haven't really done anything since then.
And there's definitely another team I'm eyeing on there because of the coach, but I'll let you go see if you take it.
Man, I'll be honest with you, man.
I think I know who it is.
If I just look at the ranked teams from 11 to 25, I could pick 5 teams.
Can you?
Yeah.
Well, tell you what, you pick 2.
Yeah.
And I'll make my other pick after you make it because there is one team on there I kind of feel embarrassed I didn't say.
All right. Well, if I'm taking 2, man, this is tough. Only 2.
Only 2.
Man, I'm gonna say, man, that Gonzaga.
Yeah,
definitely.
good one.
Yeah, I
Good
mean,
one.
Mark Few is again, I think, a top 5 coach in college basketball. And honestly, when's the last time he really had a team like this where you're like, you know what, they're good, but they're not good, but it's like
Could make
he
a
either
run.
goes, he either goes to the tournament with, hey, we're gonna win the title, or and then they fail, or he goes to the tournament where like, oh, they're probably first round. This is a team where we don't know. It's been a while.
That 2023,
Yeah.
when UConn, the first part of their 2 titles in a row,
Yeah.
where Gonzaga went to the Elite 8, but UConn just slaughtered them.
Yeah. Slaughter. Yeah.
They're still an Elite 8 run as a 4 seed.
Exactly. So yeah, I like Gonzaga. I think they got a great team. Honestly, like I think they're way underranked at number 16. I think they should be a top 10 team right now. I really
That's
do.
very
and
fair.
then the other team, man, it's really hard for me to choose between these other 2 teams. Part of me wants to go with the team that has the Hall of Fame coach,
I know it. That's where I was going.
but I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go the other route because I just think it's time. I think it's time. We need some new blood. We need some new blood, so to speak.
Who's you taking?
Taking Penny Hardaway and the
What?
Memphis Tigers.
Memphis Tigers.
I love Penny Hardaway as a coach. I think he's actually a great coach. Does
Yes.
not get enough credit. They have had a lot of problems at that school, whether it be players getting kicked out, players getting hurt, players not being able to play, whatever the reason.
John Calipari sanctions.
Yeah. So Penny, I think, finally has a roster with people that can play. And they got kind of an older roster, too. I love Memphis this year. I think they are a great team. And I think they're doing it so quietly this year. Like, there's no talk about
Good
it.
pick.
Yeah, and they're
It's a
just
very good pick.
they're continuing to win. They're 13-3.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't had like anything bad.
Those are the teams that scare me, man.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Those 4 and 5
Yeah.
seeds that you meet in the Sweet 16, that
Yeah.
all they want
And-
to do.
Yeah.
They don't. You know why those teams scare me? Because they're not trying to win the national
No,
championship.
they just want to win that one game.
They just want to beat that one game. Yes.
Yeah. And Penny, it's time for Penny to get that signature tournament win.
Yes.
That signature tournament. Because he's too good of a coach not to have some kind of March, like memory. So yeah, those would be my two teams, man. I don't know
I'm
who.
buying what you're selling.
Yeah, so who's your other team?
You pretty much named it when you said Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
The Is, man.
Yeah.
The Izzo, the Michigan State Sparty.
Yeah. And
I don't know. Is there really a more outside of our teams? And my team and your team have been questionable in these times. Is there really a more trustworthy coach in March than him?
I think
maybe there might be a couple of answers there, but
I really think Tom Izzo is the greatest coach ever in tournament history.
As a whole?
Yeah. Yeah. Just take the tournament. Just take the tournament. Just in the 6 games, I think Izzo is the greatest tournament coach of all time. I think he, I have a rule that's don't bet against Tom Izzo in March. So really, at the end of the day, when it comes time to fill out my bracket, I'm putting Michigan State. Unless they're playing Carolina, I'm probably putting them at least in the Elite Eight.
I mean, he's Mr. Consistent for sure. I mean, I saw him take just donkey teams to the Final Four.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. And it's been a while since he's been there.
I'll never forget, they were a 7 seed in 2015 and ran into my boys in the Final Four. That was still an incredible run. They beat everybody on the way there.
And I think, this could be like Izzo's, hey, y'all didn't think I could do it, but I did it. And then he just rides off into the sunset and, he joins all the other great coaches.
Don't rule them out. I mean, they have to play. They have to play a bunch of good teams in the Big Ten.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they have a hard. I mean, they have a hard road to get there, but no, they can do it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for all these teams. I think there's a lot of good teams this year.
Yes.
It could be, honestly, we're looking at the top 5 right now. We can come back in a month. None of those teams could be in the top 5, and I truly believe that.
I'd be very surprised if Auburn, Iowa State, and Duke were not in the top 5.
I'm just saying. I think if we can come back in a month and
be very well. Let me take that back. I wouldn't necessarily be that surprised for Auburn, and the reason I'm saying Auburn is because of the absolute juggernauts they have to deal with in the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to play a Final Four game multiple times.
Yeah.
Like that quality of a game.
Yeah.
They still have to deal with. They still have to deal with Alabama, Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida. Like, that is unbelievable.
Oh, that conference is insane. Mississippi State.
I'd be very surprised if Duke was out of the top 5 because of the schedule they have to play.
I'm just saying, I think, Duke, like I said, I'm not super impressed. I could see them, maybe something crazy happens and they lose to, like, Virginia, and their poll people are like, hey, you know what? Number 7.
Nothing's impossible.
Yeah, so.
Nothing's impossible.
I just think this is a weird year, man. I think, it wouldn't surprise, but also at the end of the day, it wouldn't surprise me that, as you predicted, 4 of the top 5 teams are in the Final Four. Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me. So, but I think this is going to be a fun year. This is exciting. This is not like last year where I felt like all year we were like, hey, this is exciting, but we all knew, everybody knew what was going to happen. Like, this year really, why can't a 10 seed pull it off this year? Or an 8 seed.
This is the year to do it. You are right. I mean, this is not like last year where the story was already written.
Yeah. Or why can't Dan Hurley just be like, you know what, screw all you guys, and he just goes and wins a 3rd and just, dances all over the world.
I will say that you are the greatest college coach of all time if you do that.
If he three-peats, I'll take it.
If he three-peats, I will say that Dan Hurley is the greatest college coach of all time.
If he three-peats, it'd be the greatest thing to happen in college basketball, like in a very, very long time. And honestly, like I said, if Carolina doesn't win, I think UConn's my next choice right now.
Who else? Yeah. Nobody else has ever three-peated except UCLA.
Yeah, that was a different time, different era. I don't even count that.
No.
No.
Well, with today's game, you can't really count it.
Yeah, I mean it's I think it's it was great what they did, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird, but I'm not super impressed.
I think it was different then.
Yeah.
For sure. I've watched a lot of those tapes. I'm such a historian.
Like I think a couple of two-peats that we've seen since then were way more impressive.
I think the teams from the 90s and the teams from the early 2000s are the best teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think the Florida back-to-back and the Duke back-to-back is way more impressive than the UCLA.
Oh, sure.
UCLA wins.
Well, the tournament wasn't 64 then.
No, and also you just played most of those years until the finals. They never played a team on the East Coast.
No.
So they were beating up on teams on the West Coast, and those West Coast teams didn't recruit players from the East Coast like they did.
Nope, they did
Yeah,
not.
so yeah, it's different time. But dude, I think this has been a good episode.
It's a great episode.
Good blue, bad blue.
A lot
Look
of
us up.
insight. Love the differing opinions.
Yeah, and we disagree a lot this time, so there's that.
And I want y'all to come in and disagree with us
Yes.
in the comments.
And by us,
Tell
he
me
means
I'm crazy.
He means disagree with him.
Tell me he's crazy.
Yeah.
And let's argue about it.
Yes.
I mean, we have the most arguing rivalry in the world.
It's the best.
fans.
Yeah, it's the best
all
sports
sports.
rivalry. Yeah,
All
it's the best
sports.
sports rivalry. Yeah, there's nothing compares. Although,
If anybody has a rivalry better than Duke and North Carolina, let me hear it, because you'll never see two programs with the greatness that these two constantly have.
I'm just gonna say though, it's technically not a rivalry anymore since
No.
that Final Four game. But
No, it's a rivalry.
Whatever. No, it ended. It ended in the Final Four. But that's just my opinion.
Kansas made me feel better.
That game was not played. I don't
No.
know. I don't know what you're talking about. We won our title 48 hours
Void.
before that. Yeah. Greatest win. That was the greatest win in college basketball history. Just saying. Yeah.
Oh man.
No win ever.
Oh, it'll happen again one day.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
And then y'all lose to State too. Like you're the third best team in North Carolina. That's hilarious. Yeah.
If we get a ring this year, I'm gonna forget all about all that stuff.
Well,
trust me.
of course, absolutely. But guys, thank y'all for watching. Good Blue, Bad Blue. Look us up on YouTube. Thank you so much, Brandon. Last words?
None. Let's do this. I'm ready to come back for the next episode right after they play.
Perfect. And I'll say, check you later.
See ya.